earnest, wrong, but adorable way. She's like your daughter when she comes back from her first year at Brown, full of half-baked, half opinions, in need of some gentle, patient deprogramming. But people have to realize new faces doesn't mean new ideas. Drives me crazy. AOC has never introduced a fresh idea or issue in her.
Greg Gutfeld didn't step into the political spotlight. He crashed straight through it, sending a shockwave across the media world, with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez standing at the center of the fallout, long known for viral moments and bold confidence. This time, though, the dynamic flipped fast. She wasn't firing the shots, she was taking the impact, and whatever Greg brought forward didn't just rattle a few nerves. It stunned reporters, ignited social media, and pushed the internet into a full-scale meltdown.
There is nothing consistent with the Republican Party's continued attack except for the racism and incitement of violence against women of color in this. The Republican caucus threatened my life, and you all and the Republican caucus rewarded him with one of the most prestigious committee assignments in this Congress. Don't tell me this is about consistency. Don't tell me that this is about a condemnation of...
What Greg Gutfeld is aiming at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez isn't a routine political jab. It's a full-blown comedy assault wrapped in razor-sharp satire. Every punchline hits with late-night accuracy, landing so clean the crowd has no choice but to explode with laughter. And let's be real, AOC has built her brand on being Congress's headline magnet. No cape needed, with cameras always locked in and filters ready. But Greg's breakdown doesn't just land, it steals the show, turning her theatrical style into a binge-worthy spectacle that keeps viewers glued, laughing, and stunned all the way through.
Gets along with Bernie is because she's like an 80-year-old leftist in a used bookstore. I mean, you know, she may look fresh, but she's as stale as an abandoned futon on the street. It's like, I listen to her, I go, I heard that at Berkeley in 1983. So their problem is, and the reason why they don't have any ideas is they operate on half opinions. Like, what if we get rid of cash bail? Oh, let's do it. What happens? You have repeat criminals wreaking havoc. What if we have sanctuary cities? Hey, let's do it. What happens? You have rapists and killers, you know, finding sanctuary, safe haven. What if we...
If you're enjoying this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you can imagine. Save the planet, end poverty, fix inequality, solve everything before lunch. That's the whirlwind image AOC throws out, flinging promises like confetti at a picture-perfect parade. Then Greg Gutfeld steps into frame with one quiet smirk and the shine starts to split. To him, this isn't bold leadership, it's stage performance dressed up as a cause. And here's the hard hit. Greg doesn't sit back and chuckle. You know, he walks straight into the spotlight and drops a ruthless mic moment, peeling back the grand vision and revealing something that looks far more like an improv act than a real plan, unraveling fast and leaving everyone scrambling to keep up.
So their problem is, and the reason why they don't have any ideas is they operate on half opinions. Like, what if we get rid of cash bail? Oh, let's do it. What happens? You have repeat criminals wreaking havoc. What if we have sanctuary cities? Hey, let's do it. What happens? You have rapists and killers, you know, finding sanctuary, safe haven. What if...
The strangest part is how familiar it all starts to feel. AOC rushes in glowing with self-built hero energy, the voice of the people, selling rooftop gardens, effortless promises, and a sweeping revolution for everyone. Then Greg Gutfeld shows up, not waving charts or policy papers, but wearing the sharp grin of the family comedian who never lets a bold claim slide without a perfectly timed roast. His delivery is relentless, his timing is precise, and in just moments, that grand crusade folds in on itself, shrinking into little more than the perfect setup for his next cutting punchline.
I love how she explains it. They're not meant for you, right? But then you have to ask, okay, then what is this debt forgiveness? Who is it meant for? And when you look at the data, it's upper, white, middle class, liberal women. This ain't welfare, right? These are well-to-do people. It's a bribe for Democrats on the backs of plumbers, truckers, and everyone else who actually does a real job, unlike me. AOC is the symbol of the entitled sponge. She complains about student loans, but she owns a Tesla.
Greg doesn't bother boring anyone with charts or lifeless graphs. Not for a second. Instead, he snatches AOC's flashy speeches, flips them like circus acts, and hurls them straight into the flames of satire. Suddenly, those billion-dollar dreams stop sounding bold and start sounding like a teenager handed an unlimited credit card with zero oversight. But here's where it really stings. This isn't just comedy, it's exposure. Greg yanks the curtain back and lights up the contradictions fueling the act, condemning capitalism while enjoying luxury drinks, sporting expensive hoodies, and packaging her truth with influencer-level polish. He points out how her biggest victories trend online instead of materializing in Congress, because her real arena isn't the Capitol floor, it's the glow of live streams, ring light blazing, supporters roaring like she's headlining a festival. And when Greg lays it out that plainly, it cuts deep because it echoes what many have quietly suspected. Maybe AOC is playing influencer more than lawmaker.
Think about what their ideas incentivize. That would be nice. So where are their ideas going to come from? Trump. The only way they're going to create a message is based on whatever Trump does. So I have some slogans for the Democrat Party.
Oh,
Wow.
The Democrat Party, when you're tired of success.
Okay.
The Democrat Party, make America suck again. Democrat Party, the first choice for illegals, vandals, and dead people.
Then the receipts come out, and Greg has them piled high, each one scorching the illusion on contact. He locks onto her crown jewel, the Green New Deal, and rips into it not as serious policy, but as a glitter-coated wish list pulled straight from a dreamer's notebook. Free healthcare, free college, guaranteed jobs, maybe giveaways for everyone. It sounds enchanting until the unavoidable question crashes in. Who's paying for it? AOC gestures toward billionaires like an endless money tap, while Greg smirks and reminds her that reality always sends a bill in moments. The promised paradise slips from utopia into something closer to a desperate crowdfunding pitch, appealing on paper, but detached from how the world actually works. The slogans sparkle, but the framework shakes like a shelf built without a level, and the fallout turns into pure theater. Conservatives echo Greg's lines non-stop, while progressives rush to shield AOC, claiming the future itself is under attack and brushing it all off as Greg being mean.
College tuition, that you got to take care of them. They're adorable dogs, but she owns a Tesla and she owns a French bulldog, and she wants you or your dad, the electrician, to forgive her student loan. That's BS. Turn in the Tesla, sell the dog. I'll buy it half price.
And right in the middle of this chaotic showdown sit regular people laughing out loud, because let's be real, Greg Gutfeld going head to head with AOC is more entertaining than half the comedies streaming platforms keep pushing. But under the laughs is something sharper, something that cuts clean. Comedy has always been one of politics' most dangerous tools. And Greg wields it with precision, carving through rehearsed slogans and polished branding. He shows how her ideas sparkle online like flawless gems, then crack the moment they collide with real-world limits. That's the real sting. It isn't cruelty, it's accuracy. Greg asks the question others dodge. Is this Congress, or an influencer mansion with better lighting? And the timing couldn't be sharper, because modern politics runs on performance. AOC plays the influencer, stacking hashtags and live streams like trophies, while Greg takes the critic's chair, turning every grand gesture into a comic collapse. And like any great roast, the laughter doesn't come just from the jokes. It comes from the uncomfortable truths hiding beneath every punchline.
To get into a beef with the Twitter chief. On Tuesday, she tweeted, LMAO at a billionaire earnestly trying to sell people on the idea that free speech is actually an $8 a month subscription plan. That's a reference to Musk's plan to charge people $8 a month for verified blue checkmark status. But he hit back tweeting, your feedback is appreciated. Now pay $8. To be fair,
when Greg takes aim at her economic math, it's more than stand-up, it's a reality check wrapped in laughter. His dismantling of her working-class champion image cuts straight through the noise, spotlighting the gap between fiery speeches and a carefully polished lifestyle. And when he breaks down her Instagram-ready activism, he's not just chasing laughs, he's exposing how modern politics has drifted into pure performance. The reaction plays out exactly as expected. AOC fires back online, fast and sharp, keeping the clash alive instead of letting it cool. Sometimes she doubles down. Other times she leans hard into outrage. Either way, every response pours more fuel onto Greg's comedic blaze. The loop never ends. She speaks, he roasts, she snaps back, he escalates. A political ping-pong match the public can't look away from. But beneath all the noise lands Greg's toughest blow. Politics isn't about catchy slogans, it's about results. And if you can't explain who's paying for your sparkling dream, maybe it isn't a vision at all. Just another viral post dressed up as leadership.
To be fair, she'd love to spend the $8, but she already bought a Tesla. He also tweeted a photo of some ugly AOC merch she's trying to hawk for $58. Overpriced merch, AOC. Seems pretty capitalistic of you. Which, according to you, makes you evil. And according to anyone paying attention, also makes you full of.
That's why Greg's roasts hit like body shots. They don't just make people laugh, they expose. His punchlines slice through fiery speeches and social media theatrics, revealing the cracks beneath AOC's carefully polished image. And the audience stays locked in because people are exhausted by sweeping promises sold without proof. Greg just wraps the hard truth in humor and slides it back with a smirk. When the laughter fades, her brand may still glow. Attention fuels her, whether it's applause or outrage. But once the curtain slips, there's no wiping away what's underneath. That's the real reveal here. Not one joke or jab, but a steady peeling away of illusion. Gutfeld rips the glossy poster off the persona and plants the unfiltered version front and center. And when it finally clicks that her power flows less from policy and more from performance, the spectacle shifts from inspiration to satire. Part comedy, part warning.
I mean, first of all, $80 per theater. I made $80 in a theater, and there wasn't even a movie playing.
Wow. What do you mean?
I don't know. It's no surprise. Who would go see a movie that's the opposite of entertaining? There's nothing entertaining about that. Michael Moore's colonoscopy is more entertaining than that because there's probably more twists. But it does show you how great it is to be a progressive in a liberal biased culture. She really doesn't do her job, right? She makes movies, she goes to galas, she sits for glossy butt-kissing interviews in GQ and other women's magazines.
And just when it looks like the sparks might fade, boom, AOC pops up on 60 Minutes, and suddenly it's round 2 of the Greg versus AOC saga. The curtain never drops, politics never slows, and neither do the punchlines. This isn't a one-time clash, it's a running series. Every tweet, every speech, every dramatic pause on Capitol Hill becomes Greg's next setup, pen sharp and timing dialed in. At this point, politics feels less like leadership and more like improv comedy, paid for by taxpayers and powered by applause. AOC casts herself as a modern Rosie the Riveter, fists up, ready to take on billionaires and rescue the working class. But Greg's mockery lands with uncomfortable precision. Funny in the same way, it hurts to realize you've been paying for a gym membership you never used. Then comes the superhero pivot, the climate crusader. She frames global warming like a blockbuster crisis, starring herself as the hero, armed with $1 trillion fix. In her version, the Green New Deal turns into a magic glove. One snap, planes run on optimism, pollution vanishes, and every building shines like a flawless makeover reveal.
It's funny, that's mean. You're
right,
mean. You're being mean.
But I'm fascinated they thought there was an audience for this outside of Earth Justice or the Justice Democrats, because who really wanted to go and see this thing? And then tomorrow you'll have an article that we'll have to talk about, which is that kids all over America are having nightmares about climate change. Well, no wonder.
Well, Jessica, what about the fact that the climate activists are very much enthused about what they do?
Greg Gutfeld doesn't buy the fantasy for even a second. He hears AOC's sweeping vision and flashes a grin that practically says, "Nice pitch. Now who's paying for it?" In that instant, her bold ideas stop sounding like serious policy and start sounding like a crowdfunding page overloaded with stretch goals like end poverty and fix everything. That's the brilliance of Greg's style. He doesn't argue like a stiff policy wonk, he skewers like a seasoned headliner. He doesn't dissect the fuzzy math. He jokes that the budget looks like it was scribbled on a napkin halfway through happy hour. He doesn't nitpick the structure. He cracks that it follows the same logic as a toddler's crayon masterpiece. And that's why his takedowns spread so fast. Those lines stick long after the laughter fades, while AOC's loyal crowd cheers. Greg laughs louder, turning her serious proposals into pure comedy fuel. It's a total mismatch. She lobs water balloons, and he walks in with a flamethrower. And the strangest part is watching the media scramble. Friendly outlets rush to shield her, calling Greg harsh or dismissive, as if labels alone could drown out the laughter flooding social media.
AOC was on 60 Minutes last night. Quite a feat for a newcomer. Must be all her great new ideas.
People are going to have to start paying their fair share in taxes. Once you get to like the tippy tops, on your $10 millionth dollar, sometimes you see tax rates as high as 60 or 70%.
What an expression. Now, the real story isn't AOC's very old ideas. It's the media's gushy view of her. Even with her old ideas, she gets on 60 Minutes. The past is called the future, and you better love it.
Meanwhile, conservative outlets can't get enough. They blast Greg's one-liners across headlines, turning them into rally cries and viral clips on repeat. And everyone else, watching with popcorn, locked into one of the strangest matchups in modern politics. One cast as the activist turned influencer. The other is the sharp-tongued comic who never runs out of ammo. Together, they've built a spectacle more binge-worthy than anything streaming right now. But under the laughs hangs a heavier question. What does this circus say about our moment? On one side, AOC feeds on attention, praise, outrage, memes, anything that keeps the spotlight hot. Yet once the illusion starts to fracture, that glow fades fast, and that's where Greg's humor cuts deepest. His jokes aren't empty swings, they're reality checks wrapped in laughs, reminding viewers that hashtags don't solve crises, viral fame doesn't pass laws, and passionate speeches still don't balance budgets. And maybe, just maybe, they point to an uncomfortable truth. Online stardom doesn't automatically turn into real power on Capitol Hill.
Delightful dancing video from last week. The media created a fake story that conservatives attacked her over this delightful trifle. Not really. In fact, the only stories written about the dance were by liberals using it to falsely smear the right. So the press creates a shield around her in which any criticism must be due to sexism or bigotry, when in fact it's in their heads and not ours. But this strategy works by preventing real criticism about her actual beliefs, which are retreads of horrible ideas from previous centuries. Socialism with a smile, fascism among friends, Venezuela meets vegan.
And here's the final turn. AOC isn't backing off for a second. Without the drama, the flair, and those high-energy live streams, she wouldn't be the headline engine the internet can't stop buzzing about, and that's exactly why Greg keeps her squarely in his sights. Peel away the theatrics, and half his comedy fuel vanishes. It's a strange political symbiosis. She feeds the jokes, he boosts the spotlight, and everyone else watches with popcorn as the chaos unfolds. But don't settle in, this saga isn't slowing down. Every proposal, every viral clip, every heated rant becomes fresh material for Greg's late-night arsenal. Think this round was intense? Just wait. If AOC is politics' ultimate influencer, then Greg Gutfeld is the heckler who never leaves. And in Washington's endless comedy club, the mic stays live, the punchlines keep landing, and the spectacle rolls on.